Higher Learning is a show about adults learning interesting facts while under the influence of marijuana. This show is filmed in Vermont where it is legal to smoke. The staff involved in the show want to be clear that we do not support its use by those too young or where it is illegal to partake in such behavior. While this show doesn't show the usage of drugs or use coarse language, it is not intended for children. Parental discretion is advised. Now, let's get to the burning and learning. Welcome to Higher Learning, a class in disjointed education.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the show where every other week I come in and I teach 25 facts on a topic to my son while he is high on edibles, which explains the chicken wings that he's eating right now. He likes to bring a snack on those weeks. And then next week I'll come in and I'll quiz him on these facts and see if he can puff, puff, pass or...
puff, puff, fail.
And this week, because it's going to go up before it, and next week's will go up after, it'll be just surrounding 420. I said, we have to do 25 facts about marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
It makes sense. You just Google facts about marijuana, you're going to get a bunch of like anti-marijuana things. That's not really what I was looking for. So I had to type in fun facts and all these other things and pick and choose.
Fun fact. It wrote most of the Beatles.
What?
Marijuana?
You think there was some LSD
other stuff, yeah.
And some, yeah. Anyway. All right. So an October 22 Pew Research Center survey says that an overwhelming majority of American adults say that marijuana should either be legal for medical and recreational use, that's 59% that think both, or at least for medical use only, another 30%. So there's 89%
of all Americans
believe it should be at the very least for medical and or both. 1 in 10 say that the drug should not be legal in any form. And these have been consistent views since around April of 2021. They keep getting basically these exact results. Fewer than half of U.S. adults, 46%, say that they've ever used marijuana. That seems low to me.
half.
46% say they've used it, which would mean a little over half. 54% didn't. Doesn't that seem strange? But that's according to a 2021 National Survey on Drug Use and Health. That is lower than the shares who said they've never consumed alcohol or tobacco.
That sounds about right.
21 states and the District of Columbia legalized small amounts of marijuana for recreational use as of April of this year, according to the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, or NORML. You'll notice Cheech and Chong wearing NORML shirts in a couple of their movies because that was a group they supported. Now, here's an ironic one, Jay. In 2017, sales of medical and recreational cannabis in the U.S. were 9 times higher than sales of Oreo cookies. But I bet the Oreo cookies went up too.
A little bit at least.
Europe will become the largest medical cannabis market starting in 2027. They have a budget of 1.3 trillion in healthcare spending going into their legalization that's supposed to happen.
That's ridiculous. Trillion?
Yep. In the early 1970s, Stanford students bought a bag of weed from MIT students. This means marijuana was the first product sold online.
Nice.
In the 70s, like smart college kids sold weed to other smart college kids. You can eat cannabis raw. Granted, it tastes better when you prepare it with like brownies, bread, or cake, but cannabis can be eaten raw. One more thing. If you eat it raw, it doesn't get you high, but it will provide you with the medicinal benefits. Shakespeare smoked cannabis.
Yeah.
Maybe it was his source of inspiration too. You were talking about the Beatles. Well, marijuana residue was found in his home I think they said in 8 out of 20 of his personal pipes. So maybe that helped him with his screenplays and such.
Yeah.
Bob Marley
Noticeable.
was buried with weed. That's not a shock to me, though. The music star was buried with his red Gibson guitar, a cannabis bud, and a Bible open to the 23rd Psalm, which reads, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures."
He was also buried for weed.
Well, no, he got an infection in his toe.
Right.
Look into that if you want some suspicious, interesting stories. You cannot lethally overdose on cannabis. Now, you can overdose by the traditional meaning of consuming more than you should, but it's practically impossible to consume enough cannabis that it would actually kill you. There are secondary things, like I think Ralphie May had to start eating it because he had got holes in his lungs from smoking so much. But he was smoking it like it was cigarettes, you know?
Right.
Let's see. Yeah. Los Angeles, aside from being the city of the stars, has more marijuana dispensaries than Starbucks. That's
Good.
La La
That's
Land.
good. That's good. Because
La La Land.
okay, but Starbucks bad.
Cannabis can improve senior life quality, providing relaxation, becoming a more natural approach to pain relief. It's definitely here to improve the life quality of senior citizens, in my opinion. Weed is related to beer. Beer hops are actually the same family of flowering plants as cannabis. I thought they looked familiar. I actually never saw what hops look like. So
Yeah, I've never seen that.
in 2013, Uruguay became the first country to legalize growing, selling, and consuming cannabis.
We were just talking about them.
Don't talk with your mouth full. You're high. You don't have to be a slob. According to Civilized Life, the United States is the top marijuana-producing nation in the world. But right behind it are Morocco, Afghanistan, Mexico, and Colombia.
Shocker.
Colombia? Yeah.
Yeah.
George Washington grew hemp. His farms at Mount Vernon were used to grow hemp in order to make paper, rope, sail canvas, clothing, and fishing nets. The 17th century Virginia Assembly required residents to grow hemp. The year was 1632, and the English Navy needed hemp for lines and sailcloth, so the Virginia Assembly required every planter provide seed of flax and hemp and sow the same. That's how they worded it. In the Kingdom of Bhutan, cannabis is as common as grass. It grows everywhere, in the wild, in the cities, cracks of sidewalks. They feed pigs with it, but it's more often considered a pest to them.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Nixon's biographer, Roger Stone, says Richard Nixon was a huge fan of Louis Armstrong. Okay. In 1958, when Vice President Nixon at the time was at a New York airport, he saw a nervous-looking Louis Armstrong, who happened to be carrying 3 pounds of cannabis in his suitcase. He was about to pass through customs when Nixon walked over, offered to carry his bags, and just walked the trumpet player past the inspection with no trouble. He didn't know what was in it, though. He's
nice.
Like, let me help you. You're with the vice president. You don't need to go through there. Like, of course, I'm the vice president. I'm a well-respected politician, said Richard Nixon. Cameron Diaz bought cannabis from Snoop Dogg when she was in high school, according to her. She said both her and Snoop attended Long Beach Polytechnic High School, and whenever she needed to re-up on cannabis, Snoop was the dude she went to. The ancient Egyptians used cannabis to perform enemas.
Oh.
Yeah, enemas. It might not be the most common reason people use cannabis, but don't knock it till you try it.
No, I'm knocking it. I'm knocking it immediately.
Babies in North Carolina tested positive for cannabis in their urine because of soap. Alarm bells went off in a North Carolina hospital when they noticed an increase in newborns testing positive for cannabis. This would normally be bad news for the mother. It indicates that she had been using it, which would lead to visits from CPS. But with further investigation, they discovered there are several ingredients in baby soap formulas made by Johnson & Johnson, CVS, and Aveeno that caused false positives on these urine tests.
Wow.
Yeah. Can you imagine? They come and they're like threatening to take your kid away, and it's because you used Johnson's baby shampoo on your kid? Right. According to reports from defectors, visitors, and experts, cannabis is either legal in North Korea or there's no enforcement of cannabis law. Bulgarian journalist Darman Richter reported buying a bag of cannabis in North Korea for 80 cents. Not only that, Richter's regime appointed chaperone smoked it with him and the other tourists in the group. 80 cents for a bag of weed. There's more dispensaries in Colorado than Starbucks and McDonald's combined. Number of medical dispensaries, 195. Recreational dispensaries, 169. For a total of 364 dispensaries in Colorado. Starbucks, there's 80. McDonald's, there's 31. For a total of 111. Like, it's more than triple. Starbucks and McDonald's combined. That's insane. And last one, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, the largest drug seizure of cannabis was 2,903 metric tons, or 6.4 million pounds, all of which came from a Colombian drug operation in 1982. It was 1/5 of the total amount that was being illegally imported from other countries that year.
You know, it's funny. You said last one. You were right.
Anyway, all right. So there's his 25 facts about marijuana. Next week, he'll come in sober, and I'm going to quiz him on these 25 facts so that we can find out for sure if he'll puff pass
Or puff fail.
Higher Learning is a show